Hi. Hello. Okay. So, since you read the title and since you saw the thumbnail and everything, um, yeah, uh, the best early game weapons in Warframe that I'm going to show you right now. Okay. So first we have the Heck, which is this shotgun, this Grenadier shotgun. Now, why this is a good early game weapon is, first of all, shotguns in Warframe are always fairly good. The fact that it is a rank 4, a master rank 4 weapon, meaning as soon as you hit master rank 4, which you should be able to hit pretty quickly, you can use the Heck, you can make it, you can get it straight from the market, just cost credits to make, and a few simple resources. It has good stats for early game with over 500 damage. Not that good status chance, not that good critical damage, not that good crit chance, but the base damage makes up for it. Of course, a bunch of multi-shot, a good amount of fire rate actually, and with a fairly okay fall off. Then, next on the list, we have the Nataruk, which is a bow. Don't let it fool you though, even if you don't like bows, this is probably the best thing you can get if you don't like bows, but it still deals a fuck ton of damage. Now, the cool thing about the Nataruk is it has high status, high crit damage, and high crit chance, as well as high base damage. The fire rate is alright. You have unlimited ammo. You will never run out of arrows. And the charging, since it has a charge mechanic, um, is fairly easy. You have to hold your, hold your shooting. You have to hold your trigger down like with any other weapon. It charges up, and if you release at the right time, you get a massive damage bonus. Now, if you say, oh, but it's not early game, I've seen a lot of people run through the story as fast as they could. Trust me, it is fairly early game. And you should be fine with the Heck until you get the Nataruk. Then, now that we're done with the primary, let's get to the secondary. Now, my pick for the best early game, somewhat early game, since at first you should really stay away from secondary weapons. They're okay at best, but late game, they are very helpful. Now, my pick is the Grimoire, which you get fairly late, to be honest, but it does not require much farming. And until you get to that part, you're not going to need a secondary. Now, stat-wise, it is fairly okay. But the thing that makes it special is the fact that you're able to use tome mods, which you can only use on the Grimoire and other books, but there's only two right now. I mostly use the Grimoire for support, meaning Augur mods, like Augur Pact, Augur Seeker, which, if you didn't know this, the Augur set makes it so that if you use abilities, a certain percent of that gets used to refill your shields. Now, with my current config that I always use, I get it up to 160 with the Warframe that I'm running right now. So, without anything, like without any auger mods, I get up to 80%. So, just by putting them in your secondary, you get 80% energy spent on abilities back as shields. By the way, this only counts for abilities that are one-time casts, ones that don't drain your energy. The first cast, of course, is going to turn that energy into shields, but the drained amount is not going to get reimbursed as shields. That would be completely broken. Also, as the Netaruk, it also has an unlimited magazine with no way you're running out of ammunition. And it is also a fairly good DPS if you wish to do this. Now that we come to the melee section, Um, I'm gonna have to warn you, there are a few that are really good. Now, these are weapons from Duviri. Now, if you don't know Duviri, it is a place you unlock later, and if you get there, these weapons have no requirement for mastery rank. As you see here, the Amanada costs 2, which is also very early game, but the Siam, for example, costs no mastery rank. Now, these are good early game as well as late game weapons. They just take a while to acquire. But as soon as you get access to Duviri, you can get all of them fairly easy without anything but just straight farming. Now, to this count the Siam, the Atsathane, I don't know how exactly to pronounce that, the Argon Vel, and there's a few more that I'd have to check out. I don't actually know if I have more. There's the Sampotes, the Sun and Moon, and the Eden. Now, all these weapons are very good. The most hyped one is the Siam, and it is very nice. I have not used it yet. I have seen videos though. Trust me, it's really strong. Now, if you say, oh, I don't want to farm them, it takes a pretty long while, I get that completely. Now, if you follow along the story, you get the Broken War, which is also fairly good. And if you need a real early game weapon, early game weapon, then I would advise just going with the Galatine. Because early game, I get that you want something cool. The Galatine is a huge sword that does a good amount of damage early game. It feels cool to wield, so it should be fine. Now, I'm going to also tell you what the best early game warframe is. The best one that you can pick right away as soon as the game begins, and the one that you should get right afterwards. Now, the best one early game, the best one that you can pick right from the get-go, Vault. He is a little complicated, well, more complicated than the others, but he is very good and very versatile. Let me give you a little rundown. Now his passive is pretty simple and also very good for early game. Grounded movement generates an electric charge, building up to 10 damage per meter that is unleashed with the next attack. I think this scales up to 100, so I think this can get you up to like 1000 damage with one hit, which early game is a bunch of damage that is pretty useful. For the first real ability, you got Shock. Very simple. It's pretty much the weakest one of them all. Well, because it's the first one. This base is pretty okay at doing some damage. It jumps around. Pretty nice. Now, Speed. This is personally my favorite ability about him. Speed makes you be able to run through missions quicker, makes you able to finish stuff faster. The other one that has some sort of movement ability, that is one of the first 3, is Excalibur, which is his first ability, but Speed is just way better. Then we got Electric Shield. It's pretty basic. It's pretty also self-explanatory. It is an electric shield. I think you can place down a couple. I think 3, maybe 4. And you can also pick one of them up to carry around in front of you. Also, if you shoot through the shield, you do extra electric damage. Now, at last, we got Discharge, which is a EMP of sorts. Can't really call it an EMP. It's like a large electric explosion. And then the one that you've been probably waiting for. This is the best early game Warframe. Now, it wasn't my first early game Warframe, but I definitely know he is one of the strongest early game Warframes there is and that you can pick. I know he looks like Doomslayer in this fit. Normally, he does not look like this. Yeah, and all the others are also customized. Don't worry about it. Now let's go over his abilities. Passive. Immediate shockwave dealing 100 damage after landing from a great height. That's not that good. Pretty ass, actually. Then we got Rhino Charge. It's just him charging a distance. It's pretty okay. It's mostly just for movement, I guess. Then we have the actual good abilities. You got Iron Skin, which gives you Overguard, which is kind of like health, just that it's on top of your shield. So it's extra armor. And as long as you have energy, you can always recast this and have more. So this pretty much makes you unkillable. Then, the most famous ability he has, and a very well-known and very powerful ability, is Roar. Grants all nearby warframes increased damage for a short duration. This stacks so high. Just base, it's a 50% damage increase. Base. Now, let's say you get later up to 300% strength. That is 150% more damage with your weapon. And that's just 300. There's a bunch of ways how you increase it even more. Then, at last, it's pretty okay. Rhino Stomp, which is just a large AoE that traps enemies midair and slows them down. And yeah, that's everything. Thank you for watching. Hope I'll see you again. Bye.